You know, what's so incredible about Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird is that it's not just one story. It's really two stories perfectly woven into one. On one hand, you've got this classic tale of childhood, endless summers, neighborhood legends, and all those little mysteries. But right alongside it, there's this intense, gripping adult drama about justice, prejudice, and a trial that's about to change a small town forever. So, let's set the scene. We're in Maycomb, Alabama, deep in the 1930s during the Great Depression. It's one of those slow, sleepy towns where nothing seems to change, and tradition is everything, especially the ugly traditions of racial prejudice. Now, for the kids in our story, their whole world revolves around chasing this phantom who lives next door. But what they're about to learn is that the real monsters, well, they aren't the ones hiding in shadowy old houses. All right, so here's how we're going to walk through this incredible story. First, we'll look at Maycomb's two very different worlds. Then, we'll dive into that childhood mystery of Boo Radley. After that, it's the trial that rips the town in two, and we'll see exactly how these two plot lines finally collide. And to wrap it all up, we're going to unpack the book's powerful central metaphor to get to its most important lesson.
You know, the absolute genius of this book is the way it's told. We see this really complicated, sometimes cruel adult world, but we experience all of it through the eyes of a little kid. It changes everything. And our guide on this journey is
The Finch family. So, our narrator, the voice of the story, is a 6-year-old tomboy named Jean Louise, but everyone just calls her Scout. She's got her older brother, Jem, who's always looking out for her, and then there's their father, Atticus Finch. He's a lawyer, a single dad, and really he's the moral compass for the entire story. So, let's start where the kids start. For Scout and Jem, summer in Maycomb is all about adventure. And their biggest obsession, their Mount Everest, is the creepy, shut-down Radley house next door, and the so-called phantom who lives inside. On the one hand, you've got the town myth. All the gossip has turned Arthur Boo Radley into this terrifying monster that the kids are dared to provoke. But then, something else starts happening. Little gifts start showing up in the knothole of a tree on the Radley property. Things like gum, old coins, and these little soap dolls carved to look just like them. It's a sign that someone is watching them, and maybe, just maybe, they're not a monster after all. Okay, but while the kids are busy with their summer games, the adult world is about to come crashing in. The story takes a sharp, dark turn, kicking off a chain of events that's going to shatter not just their town's fragile peace, but their own innocence too. Now, you've got to understand, back in 1930s Alabama, a white lawyer defending a black man accused of a crime against a white woman, that was basically social suicide. And Atticus, he's not naive. He knows perfectly well this case is going to be won or lost based on pure prejudice, not facts. But for him, it's simple. His conscience just won't let him walk away. He has to try. So the entire trial boils down to one single, inconvenient fact. The prosecution's whole story is that Mayella was beaten up by someone who was left-handed. But here's the thing. Tom Robinson's left arm is completely useless. It was mangled in a cotton gin when he was a boy. It's physically impossible for him to have done it, and Atticus proves this in front of everyone. But it doesn't matter. The facts, the logic, none of it stands a chance against generations of deep-seated racism. The all-white jury just can't bring themselves to take a black man's word over a white woman's. So they deliver the verdict everyone expected: guilty. And not long after, in an act of sheer desperation, Tom is shot and killed trying to escape from prison. But the story is far from over. Bob Ewell, the accuser's father, feels like Atticus made a fool of him, and now he's out for revenge. The tension just keeps building and building. And this, right here, this is the moment where those two separate stories, the kid's summer mystery and the town's tragic trial, are about to violently collide. I want you to just picture this. It's a pitch-black night. Jem and Scout are walking home by themselves after a school pageant. They hear something. Footsteps, rustling in the leaves behind them. Someone is following them. And then suddenly, bam, Bob Ewell lunges out of the dark. There's a struggle. Jem screams. And then, silence. Someone else is there. And their savior? The person who rescued them? It was Arthur Boo Radley. The phantom from next door. The monster from all their scary stories turned out to be their guardian angel. So we've hit the climax of the plot, for sure. But the real heart of the story, its true meaning, is actually hidden right there in the title. It's all about this central metaphor. It all comes back to this one simple lesson Atticus teaches the kids. He tells them, look, you can shoot all the blue jays you want, but it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. And why? Because mockingbirds don't do a single thing to hurt us. All they do is make music for us to enjoy. So they become this powerful symbol for pure, defenseless innocence. And that's when it all clicks. The story has two mockingbirds. The first is Tom Robinson, a good, kind man who was destroyed by the evil of racism simply because he tried to help someone. And the second is Boo Radley, a shy, gentle man whose life was completely broken, first by a cruel family and then by a cruel town full of gossip. Both of them were innocent, and both were harmed by senseless cruelty. At the end, the sheriff has to make a choice. To protect the intensely private Boo Radley, he decides to say that Bob Ewell simply fell on his own knife. To drag Boo into the public eye after he saved the kids would be, as Scout finally understands, like shooting another mockingbird. And it's this final act of compassion that brings us to the book's ultimate lesson. And this is it. This is the line that Atticus has been trying to teach his children all along. It's such a simple idea, but it's so incredibly profound. It's a call for empathy, a plea to stop judging people by rumors or what they look like, and to just try to see the world through their eyes for a second. Because only then, as Atticus says, can you even begin to understand who they really are.